Gordon had been sent to the works for repairs. While he was away, the Fat Controller put James in charge of Gordon's express duties. James loved pulling the express, and I'm sorry to say that he started to become very boastful about it. Just wait until you see me flash by. That is, if you can even see me. I'll probably just be a blur. The other engines rolled their eyes, all except for Emily. Why did the Fat Controller pick you? Burko and I could have done it easily, and we wouldn't have been boasting about it for hours. What, you? Pull the express? Ha! I'd like to see you try. You stick with your local services, Emily, and leave the big trains to us big engines. Ah yes, big engines like you, James, who always needs to be pushed up the hill. James pretended he hadn't heard and slunk away. The other engines laughed, except for Emily, who was still upset. It's just not fair. Emily longed to pull the express herself. Edward tried to comfort her, but his words fell on deaf ears. Emily rolled slowly away, still feeling down. Emily arrived at the station, but to her surprise, she found an inspector waiting for her. A special train has been ordered. I'd like you to pull it, please, Emily. Run along quickly now and fetch some coaches. Yes, sir. Emily rolled away to the carriage shed. As she went, James passed with the express. Look at me now! Emily was jealous and wasn't paying attention to her surroundings. Oh, hello, dear. Emily jumped. Who was that? She turned and saw old Slow Coach standing at the back of the carriage shed. Oh my, I'm sorry I startled you. It's only me. What are you doing at the back? Oh, I'm just waiting until I'm needed, though that may be some time, considering how long ago my last train was. Well, I've got a train to take now. Would you like to come along? Oh, yes, please. So Emily was quickly coupled and took Coach to the platform. And when the guard's whistle blew, Emily steamed away. Soon she was steaming through the countryside. Coach was very happy to be out again, and she sang happily as they rolled along. But Emily still felt down. Is everything all right, Emily? Oh yes, I suppose so. It's just that I just wish I could pull the express. To be able to fly along and to have everyone watch me flash past. It's always such a sight whenever I see the express pass me. I can agree with you there, though I wouldn't quite fancy it myself. I feel like if I went that fast, my poor old wheels might come off. Call me old-fashioned, but I prefer to go at a much slower pace. But what's so special about going at that same old slow speed? Coach paused for a moment, and then became excited. Why, just look over there! Some children were running to the nearby fence to watch Emily pass. They waved excitedly as she neared, and were even happier when Emily whistled hello. That's what's nice about going slow. You really get the time to see and enjoy everything. Everyone can still see you go by, but you're able to see them too. Emily thought about what Coach had said, and looked around her, taking in the beautiful scenery all around. Oh, you're quite right, dear. I've been a silly engine. It's much nicer being able to take everything in properly. Old Slow Coach smiled warmly. I'm just glad you've cheered up. It's such a shame to be sad on such a nice day. Emily smiled warmly, and the two happily carried on enjoying everything as they went. At last they reached the workstation. James was just arriving with the return express train. Cool, what's this? I've heard of slow trains, but this is something else. But Emily didn't care about what James had said. Old Slow Coach has shown me what wonders you can see when you go slow. You should try it sometime. Pah! What nonsense! But before James could reply, His guards walked angrily towards him. "Just you mind it with your reckless speed. I've had 4 passengers complain already about the ride, and all your rocking about nearly knocked me off my feet." James went red in the face. Emily and old slow coach couldn't help but laugh as James tried to disappear in a cloud of steam.